Is it gonna? Fuzzy boy!
You're mocking me, aren't you?
Actually, it was a suicide attempt.
you can be Buzz in the new Toy Story 2 video game. Use lasers and whirling torso spins to save the day. Jump, swing, and somersault through the air with special rocket jet and moonspring boots. Use the special first-person mode and see what cannot be normally seen. Will you go on an exciting adventure to save Woody? Or to save yourself from the greedy toy collector?
Stealing Woody!
Stealing?
I am Buzz Lightyear. I come in peace.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
No time to lose!